Welcome to the latest episode of the Blazing Musket Podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Benzone. We're joined this week by Kevin Tarr and Keegan Haggerty, co-founders and coaches for the newly formed Boston Emeralds FC. The team is starting play in 2026 in the UPSL. Kevin and Keegan are here today to tell us about the team, the choice of league, and why we should all get out to one of their games this year. We talked about this before we get started. There is a bit of a break for MLS for a couple months. World Cup tickets are going to cost you insane amounts of money. So we are definitely interested in what other alternatives there might be out there. So Kevin and Keegan, maybe I should start saying Keegan and Kevin. Really appreciate you guys coming on the show, and now that you've had a chance to shovel yourselves out a little bit, what are you looking forward to most in your first season here?
Go ahead, Kev.
Basically just getting on the field. So obviously this is something that me and Keegan have kept under wraps, and came up with, maybe about 5-6 months ago when me and Keegan started coaching together and working together. So it's just having something that only me and him have really known and built, and actually putting it out there for not just the Irish community, but the soccer community and Boston as a sports community as a whole. So it's just looking forward to seeing that first kick of the football and just seeing where it goes from there, basically.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Keegan.
Yeah, I mean, like, this exactly what Kevin said. I mean, like, the hype now, like, all this background work that me and Kevin's doing behind the scenes that no one else sees, like social media work and, getting the bank and everything kind of sponsorship, all this kind of stuff that, like I said, no one sees the behind the scenes stuff that all the hype now is getting towards it. And the patience is nearly out the over the line, and like Kevin said, I'm just waiting for that first kickoff and just get the season going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting that I think that's one thing that people maybe are not able to see is just how much work it goes into putting a team together. Especially again, if it's just a couple people. It's okay. You guys are the co-founders, you're the coaches, but you're also kind of everything else, right? You've got to you've got to do the marketing, the planning, all the logistics. Yeah, so for sure, I can only imagine how big of an undertaking it is. But I get but obviously, so to go into this project, there, what was the inspiration? What was the inspiration to decide, to go ahead and give this thing a shot?
So, like I said, like what Kevin said earlier, just that obviously when me and him started working together about 5, maybe 6 or so months ago, we coached at the Premier team, Jaguars United, in the UPSL, and we just didn't like the way we were kind of getting treated. We just came together and was like, look, you know, we can do. We've took experience now from this team. Let's go make our own team. And like I said, like the amount of people that we have back, and like myself and back and Kevin, like we have a lot of friends. And what I love about being Irish, specifically in Boston, is that Irish people take care of each other, and that's what happened. That's what's happening here now with this Boston Emeralds team, is that Irish people are taking care of us. And what we want to do now is give back to them, give them back like that soccer feeling from back home, and bring it into Boston.
Yeah, but for me, another factor of starting the team as well, Thomas, was so like in Boston, as you probably know, especially within the Irish community, you have your Irish sports, your Irish football, your Gaelic, and the rugby. So that's all kind of maybe taken over aside from your American sports. That's probably the next most popular sports in the Boston area. Um, Soccer's always been there. Maybe more popular so with the women. With the men's side now, like I say, we're trying to grow the men's side of things, but also incorporate how we were brought up playing soccer, the environment and the culture and the atmosphere that we've been used to as both being players and coaches. So instead of having the Gaelic, the Irish football and the rugby, we also wanted to bring the soccer for the Irish community, something that they can properly get behind and follow every weekend. And it's not just every now and then. Like we want to establish ourselves as like a mainstay within the community from a soccer point of view. And also, one of the other main factors, probably one of the most important factors, is just basically we want to represent and be proud and show that we're proud of our Irish roots. What Irish people have done before us by coming over to Boston and getting settled and stuff. So we wanted to create a team, a football team first, but a community second, which represents all that as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I gotta tell you, a lot of people in New England seem to think that they're Irish, but you, yeah, they, they might not have the accent. You know, they might have to go back a little bit to to find someone that actually was from Ireland. But in terms of the recent Irish community, I mean, where do you two guys live, and where does this community kind of tend to congregate?
So I live just above McGonagall's pub, who's our main sponsor this year. So in Dorchester, like just right beside Adams Village. So like this is literally known as like the new Ireland basically down here. Which is perfect. And we're trying to like basically get like Adams Village people, Dorchester, all that kind of people and hopefully come to our games. What me and Kev was like saying about our like small goals would be like me walking or me or Kevin walking to Adams Village and just seeing someone that like we don't really know wearing the Boston Emeralds gear. That's what me and Kevin's kind of like going back towards like what the whole point about setting us up. You see people wearing like New England Patriots, New England Revs, just other stuff that like not really to do with soccer. And if me and Kevin can see someone wearing a Boston Emeralds jersey or coat or whatever, we've known we've hit, that specific mark we wanted to go to.
Yeah. And myself, Thomas, I'm living in an area called Chelsea. So Chelsea's kind of it's mainly a Latino oriented area. A lot of Hispanics and stuff. So I live here with my wife. But like Keegan says, the area where I grew up is kind of similar, or where not where I grew up, where I live now is kind of similar in terms of the area where he is. But he has the Irish, I have the Spanish, which obviously Spanish have a lot of passion as well for the soccer. So I see that in around wherever I walk in around this community. But again, haven't been with Jaguars. I've been in around that Portuguese Brazilian kind of environment. We were like, well, why can't the Irish community have this in terms of soccer? Like what those guys have done at Jaguars in their community, and that has been great for their people, and their people get behind it 100%. There's a lot of passion. So I'm like, well, we could do this with the Irish community. Do you know what I mean? They have their Gaelic sports, and like Keegan was saying, it would be amazing to maybe come into the season and just be randomly walking down the street and seeing guys wearing our own club merch, because the guys would wear the Irish GAA merchandise, they would wear like the rugby merchandise, and yeah, it's just the two areas where we're both living at the minute are kind of similar in terms of their passion for the sport.
Just kind of going back what Kevin said there, Thomas, as well, about like the Cape Verdean and that Portuguese connection that they have out here in Boston. It's actually unbelievably very strong, and it's the same as the Irish right now. Again, different parts of where we're living at the moment, especially now how Cape Verdeans or Cape Verde, sorry, um, got through to the World Cup as well, which is amazing, and that their captain actually plays for Shamrock Rovers in Ireland. Hopefully now Ireland gets through as well, and that'll even bring a more of an Irish community here out in Boston. Will even be stronger than ever, and hopefully people can back us down when they come out here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is it's a great point that there are, there are so many, different ethnic groups in New England, and a lot of them are really into soccer. That there's every reason to think that there could be a team that kind of represents, each one. I mean, I remember there used to be a team in Brooklyn called the Brooklyn Italians, and obviously the name kind of gives it away there, but they were representative of and they've been around for I think they're around for like 60, 70 years. But again, that was kind of their thing. They represented the Italian community in Brooklyn, and certainly, again, the Irish in Boston has been kind of a thing for a couple hundred years now. But again, to see a team that is kind of focused on that ethnic group makes a lot of sense. But you find you bring up the Gaelic sports back home in Ireland. You kind of feel it's the same way. Like the League of Ireland, from what I understand from over here anyway, the League of Ireland's kind of been on an upturn. It seems like people are starting to pay a little bit more attention to that league. Are you seeing that similar thing in Ireland that you're seeing in your Irish community over here?
I
Um,
kind
I
of.
yeah, especially so where I'm from in Ireland, Derry City, we would be seen in terms of the men's senior soccer back home, we'd be seen as one of maybe the top 2 or 3, maybe 4 teams in the country. Um, I think the reason why it's on the up at the minute is due to it might sound a bit stupid, but due to maybe the recent decline in the national team. When I say recent, maybe 2 3 years ago, Ireland was struggling. They were seen to just having kind of your bog standard intermediate players representing them. You know, maybe players that are playing lower leagues in England. And I think now the reason why the League of Ireland, in terms of the upline now, is because Ireland, the national team, have maybe had no chance now, or no choice, sorry, but to actually tap into the domestic league, their own domestic league, and actually sit back and see, like, we actually have talent here that we really should be given a chance and showcasing, and I think that has benefited the League of Ireland. And as you can see now, and as Keegan says, hopefully Ireland qualifies now for the World Cup, but you can see that coming to fruition now due to the Irish national team.
Or just for example, Thomas, there's a guy from back home that I just seen there. He signed for, I believe it's Hartford Athletic. It's in the USL Championship. He played for Cork City, who I believe just got promoted into the Premier Division of Ireland, so the League of Ireland. So he just came from like the Division One, basically, of Ireland, and then went straight over to USL Championship. Now I'm not saying that that the difference in standard there, but his name's Barry Coffey. He was playing, I believe, in England and all too. Like he's a lot of experience, but it just shows that that Americans are now looking towards the League of Ireland as well, and even the lower league of Ireland, because they see how good the Irish football ability is. And I feel like since we're such a small country and how we're very low ranked in the FIFA rankings, is that people don't actually look at us towards being quality players. While you have, players that's been playing for Premier League and everything out there, and I know we don't have your Yamin Lamals or Lionel Messi's, whatever, but at the moment, like, we're still a very, very tight unit. We have our Evan Ferguson, Troy Parrott, who else do we have? Adam Daz, all these big all these big players, that are starting to build up, and that's what I like about what the FAI has done now with Ireland, is that we're taking chances on these younger players that push Ireland through to breaking that wall where we've been stuck using like the likes of Shane Duffy's and James McLean's and all this kind of stuff. And I just can't wait now to see how we break through and using the young talent come through, especially League of Ireland and players that's over in England at the moment.
And
Yeah,
also,
yeah. Oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
Tom. Also, one thing I want to mention as well, another thing that I think is benefiting the league as well is, like you can see, that they're pushing through this young talent domestically within their own league. And the rewards for that is a lot of the academy players now seem to be going to the likes of Portugal and Italy at the age of 19, 20. Like, they're not even going to clubs in England, they're going further abroad. And then they're gaining the experience, they're gaining the play time, and a lot of players might come back then from maybe a season or two on loan, and they're like so much more matured mentally and physically for the league, and it makes the league a lot more exciting as well. Plus, that player going to like the likes say Fiorentina or something in the Serie A, and then coming back to Ireland, like, they're bringing a name with them as well, just because they've made that move. You know what I mean? And like, so now the league will definitely soar up now due to James McLean coming back to Derry from Wrexham. He's already bringing a massive name for himself into the league, so it's kind of like the David Beckham kind of effect, if you know what I mean. Not saying that they're the same level in terms of standard, but I mean, James is a very, very well thought of guy back home, and the ability for him, and even at the age he's 37 years of age, and the man could play for another 6 or 7 years. Like, he's amazing, and he'll bring so much great things to the league now.
Yeah, because I kind of felt like for a while it was just kind of, if you were a halfway decent Irish player, 16, 17 years old, it was like, well, you got to go to England, and that's pretty much like the bog standard. You'll go and do that, and then it was like if you went and if you didn't do well, it was almost like you came back. It was your head's down. Oh yeah, I couldn't cut it. Now I got to drag my feet and come back home to Ireland. Whereas, like you said, you go to Portugal, you go somewhere else, you have success. and you come back as a successful player, that makes all the difference in the world. And
Yep.
obviously, you don't want to be over reliant on the English for anything.
Well, you're
You said that. We didn't say that.
yeah, exactly. Make sure you have that in this video in this podcast now. Yeah, but like Thomas, what you were saying there, man. Like, I mean, like my whole life, I was born in 2000, and my whole like standard of football was like prime. Like it was ridiculous how good all these players that were coming through my age. Honestly, I never broke through to being a good footballer until I was like maybe like 14, 15, maybe even 16. And like all these players below me has been playing with Derry City or Harps, and I've never went to like a big academy like that before. I've always been at Cockhill Celtic. And like a lot of boys that I've grown up with playing and playing against, they've all went over to England, but they've all came back after maybe 2 or 3 years, and they've all played then at a division even below that I played at my highest. So it just shows that like whatever's happening in England, that bringing players over at a young age, it's just not working. And it shows then that obviously bringing players over to the likes of Italy, Portugal, all these other foreign countries, bring them in at a young age, and then maturing them and bringing them back to Ireland. Or even pushing them even further, even going to the Premier League. I mean, you look at like Evan Ferguson went from Brighton over to Roma, and he's excelling now, unbelievable, and he's going to be one of Ireland's best ever strikers.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and for me, obviously, I'm a lot older than Keegan, but for me, my generation, when I was playing or whatever, like your focus wasn't, you weren't even thinking about playing for your city or your area that represented you. Your goal was, I need to go to England or Scotland to be known as a successful soccer player. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, as Keegan was saying, now, you can go wherever you need to go, and as long as you develop and you can come back, and as Keegan says, like, you don't even have to go for academies like himself, and you can still be successful and end up maybe playing at a higher level than guys that maybe went off across the water before you. Do you know what I mean? But it just shows, like, in the terms of maybe what 10 years or so difference in age, that like how soccer has evolved for young players.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I interviewed Patrick Leal a couple of years ago when he was playing for Revs 2, and he had gone over to Portugal originally, and then he went over to Italy. He was very brief, brief. He had one appearance with the Serie A team, but obviously it takes quite a bit just to get an appearance with a Serie A team. He was with Venezia. But then he came back over here at 22, 23 years old. And I talked to him and he said he had learned so much about the game in Portugal, but then there was different areas of focus when he went to Italy, and he felt like he's back here now as a much, much more, well-rounded player than if he had just stayed in the same place.
Yeah.
But you guys kind of feel like, because I think what we've seen with the teams that, the professional teams, but even like, Vermont Green, which is an amateur level team in New England, that there are way, way, way more talented players in the US that just need some sort of an opportunity. And is that where the UPSL comes
Yeah.
in as this? Look,
Yeah.
this is just opening up another pathway for more players to play.
I've been trying to get somewhere to talk about this for a long time. Hey, and me and Kevin always talks about this as well. What I realized, right, is that when I first came to America in 2022 to play soccer, it's the MLS, USL Championship, USL One, USL Two, UPSL / MPSL. I think they have even NISA in there now as well somewhere. I don't know
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on there with that league.
no one does.
It's mental. I don't know what happened. But basically, what I'm trying to get is that it's all to do with money, Thomas, and that's what I really, really hate about the whole American system. Now, I did see recently, I think today or yesterday, that the USL One released that there's actually going to be a pyramid now of, I believe, a promotion relegation playoffs between USL One, USL Championship, and MLS. I don't know how true that is, but that's what's stopping the development of players, I believe, and the escalating of the MLS here in the States. Like, if, for example, when they bring out Messi and the likes of David Beckham's, Ibrahimovic's, they're massive players in Europe, and everyone wants to play against them or play with them. If I was a big professional player playing in Europe, and if I knew that Ibrahimovic or I could have a chance to play against Messi or play with Messi, and I'm like, okay, the MLS is not a good standard of football compared to what I'm playing right now. Why can't I call my agent and go over and play with, with the likes of Inter Miami or something like that there? If the board of the MLS or whoever does it, the American Soccer League, whoever does, can really set down a really good payment pathway for a relegation promotion playoff between USL 2, USL 1, USL Champions MLS, a promotion playoff exactly like England, where it goes National League 1, then like Championship 3, League 3, League 2, League 1, Championship, and then Premier League. If the MLS can promote this pathway, the MLS can only be pushing to even bigger than most of Europe competitions right now. That's the only thing. That's the thing that's holding everything back, is that small pathway that they could easily change up in the next year or two.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, I mean, let me ask you about the money aspect of all that, because USL is certainly trying to do promotion relegation. They've said they're going to do it. They have our guest on last week from the USL Players Association. They certainly have a lot to figure out, but they are at least trying to move in that direction. But to touch on the money aspect of it, I coached youth soccer for 12, 13 years, and money was the one thing that could definitely get you onto a team. And if you didn't have it, it was definitely the thing that made sure you didn't get on a team. I used to talk to a friend of mine, someone I knew, worked for a club that, they said they had a region in Worcester. Well, it's this club, Worcester. I said, okay, how many players do you have in this region of the club? Like, about 250. Okay. And it's called, name of club, Worcester. How many players are actually from the city of Worcester? And they're like, I think about 10 or 11. 10 or 11 out of 250. And you refer to yourself as being in Worcester. You might have fields in Worcester. You might have a presence but there's no kids from Worcester playing for your teams, because kids from Worcester, by and large, don't have, $2,500, $3,000, $4,000 for, the privilege of having someone teach them how to kick a soccer ball a little bit straighter than they used to be able to. So is that an aspect of this as well, that the money is what blocks players from being able to play? And is this a way to try and open that up a little bit?
Well, so speaking from personal experience, back home, you never have to pay to play. You might have to maybe pay like maybe $5 a training session or anything like that, but you wouldn't really necessarily have to pay a registration fee for a club to play that season. So when I came over and I got involved with the soccer here in the UPSL with Keegan, our minds were blown. With like the last team were looking for hundreds of dollars just for the players to step foot on the field. And that this isn't just senior football, this is academy football, right down to like 11, 12 years of age. And we were just like this is what's stopping America from developing the sport. I'm not saying, like we had a conversation tonight, and we had someone contact us, and they asked us, why are you guys charging $20 for a tryout? Not everything's free. You know what I mean? Just because you have a big green space out there, it doesn't mean that you're getting to play for free. And we get it for free as coaches. I get players need to pay so we can afford to use facilities and equipment and stuff like that. But in terms of actually making players play the game, that is something as Emeralds. And that was one of the first things me and Keegan discussed as a team of coaches was, when we start this team, we're going to try and minimize the amount of money our players are going to have to play, because it's putting people off the sport. It's tarnishing the sport altogether, I think. I just couldn't believe it when we found out that like a lot of teams are doing that, and it is common practice. I get, like I say, there's facilities and there's stuff that has to be paid in the background, so it can't be completely free. But in terms of like what you were saying, does money play a factor in terms of who's getting picked for teams and whatever? Um, hopefully, I've not come across that yet, but hopefully that's not the case in other teams. But like I say, all I can say is from our point of view and what our club is going to represent is our club's going to stand by and have our players from senior level, and we plan to have an academy and a women's team in the next few years. We want our players to pay as less money as they can or as we can manage. And money then plays a factor in terms of investment and sponsorship. So this is kind of like the challenge that me and Keegan have come across. We've great backing from the sponsors that we have on board, and we're very, very thankful for them. But uh, we could be doing with a lot more. Do you know what I mean? And with a lot more investment, a lot more sponsorship, like we could be pushing for higher heights, and that's what we want to do as a team. And people don't see that in the background. They think it's just a case of buying a bag of footballs, a few cones, getting 20, 30 players, and then you're all set. So I mean, there's so much finances goes into it. So I get why we have to ask for money from players, but players technically shouldn't really have to pay to play, if you know what I mean. Also, I have heard, so I'm only new to the league, so I'm still getting my bearings around the league, but I have heard that like if you get say a couple $1,000, you can automatically buy your way into the next tier. Do you know what I mean? And the next tier and the next tier, the richer your club comes or becomes, and the more investment you get millions of dollars. Potentially, you could be sitting right below the MLS. Do you know what I mean? Which I don't agree with that. You have to earn your way, like Keegan said, through a promotion and relegation pathway, and I think that's the best way for the game to go, in my opinion.
And also with that, what are you saying about that, like, the money situation, Thomas? Like, when you think about it, if you like were a brand new club that this, that investors a couple of million into the club, whatever, and they go straight in the USL Championship, obviously, yes, you're going to get a backing, from like your local support. But like at the same time, if you start off at like say for example, now there was that pathway that was a paveway that I was talking about. If you start off at UPSL, go on, win that the first season. After that, there you go on to USL 2. You win that whole season. You go up. You keep going up till you get the likes of the USL Championship or MLS. You're getting more publicity from the newspapers, from the leagues, from every other team, and people's going to be sitting there talking about it. For example, great example is Wrexham. They went down from like national league, and they're pushing out. I think they're like championship now in England, Kevin,
Yep.
aren't they?
Yep. Yeah.
And like they're not in the Premier League, and they've been doing it for like what, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is. Like it's a very, very minimal amount.
Well,
And
they nearly fooled us like 7 years ago.
this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it just shows that like if they bring that paveway through, they could bring a different type of talent to American soccer. That's what me and Kevin want to do here now as well, Thomas, and Dorchester specifically. Like I said, what Kevin's saying about like the money situation. If a kid even had, say if a kid came to me now and was like Keegan and Kevin, I'm going to give you like $100,000 here now to pay to get my son to play, but his son could be like one of the worst players that we've seen. We're not going to take him. We just want talented footballers, Thomas, to come through. I coach at BC High, the strength and conditioning and for soccer, and they're telling me that they have to go like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever to training after school, and I'm like,
Yep.
there is no name a club that's in both Boston or like in Dorchester right now that's giving them that like that MLS Next Pro, or you know what I mean? Like they're giving that like that standard of football where they want to play, and that's what me and Kevin want to do now. We want to make this club now that club specifically that'll push players into the next level.
Yeah, because I mean that's the challenge. Look, I mean, I used to coach a player that in order for her to, I felt bad for her. She drove 2 hours both ways to get to training. She lived out in Western Mass and was training in Newton because it wasn't that
That's mental.
wasn't that many clubs out that way. She got an opportunity to play at a higher level team. She really wanted to do that, but then I mean, 4 hours in a car, and we trained 3 nights a week. A game on Sunday, and then God forbid we had a tournament. You got to play 4 times in 3 days. So she's doing homework in the back of a car. Like the sacrifices that people have to make, and again, they had her parents had the money, so they were able to make this opportunity happen. But then even then, 4 hours in a car 3-4 days a week is, that's 16
A
hours a week
lot of
sitting
yeah,
in
I
the
mean,
back of a car.
it's
Yeah.
not a way to especially her being so young, it's not a way to be like, living your life and
Yeah. Yeah.
going for soccer. So like I said, that's the whole goal me and Kevin's trying to do now, implement is, hopefully in the future getting an academy and getting a women's team together, getting a huge club, going at obviously we want to start off at the men's level, because that's what me and Kevin's at is best
Mhm.
at the moment. And at the moment, the kind of signings we've had, Thomas, that me and Kevin's been bringing in is unbelievable, man. Like like I say, I'm just waiting now for this kickoff to show the UPSL, not just New England, but the whole of UPSL, what Boston Emeralds can bring to this league.
Yeah, so
Just a, just a
can we
touch.
talk about Kevin, can we talk a little bit about,
Yep.
the players that you've been able to bring in so far, and where are they coming from? What's their previous level, and then maybe just a little bit about, like, how do you put together a team at this level, right from, starting off with no players?
So
Don't give too much away, Kev. Don't give too much away, yeah, lad.
so for us, basically, obviously, the foundation was based on Irish players and friends that me and Keegan know that like would have played maybe League of Ireland back home up to a certain stage or whatever, or like Keegan himself got a scholarship to come over and play in the US, so they're playing D1, D2 college divisions or whatever. They've left college now, or they're maybe when the season starts, the season's going to be or the college season's going to be on a break or whatever. So these players, believe it or not, like in terms of headhunting players, me and Keegan haven't really gone out and headhunt these players without sounding big headed and like blowing our own trumpet. These players have come to us, and like me and Keegan have noticed, before we've kicked the football, our team's grown as a brand in terms of like our colors, our team aesthetic, and our merchandise. It all seems to be like building attraction and stuff. So players have come to us and said, "Oh, we've seen you guys on social media. Can you tell me a bit more about the team?" Um, I've heard from players that you have signed that like you're going to be a great level. I've heard about like what you and Keegan's plans are for the future. So players have come to us actually asking and asking when tryouts. Like me and Keegan's head's been done in for the last 2 months. Like, when are you guys having tryouts? And we're like, do you guys not see the weather outside? Do you know what I
It's a
mean?
little complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, and then coming back just to touch on the money question that you had there, um, facilities here are expensive. So they are
Yeah.
even just to
Yep.
hold a tryout for an hour and a half. You're talking hundreds of dollars, and it's stopping development. So, we got our tryouts in place. We have tryouts now this Saturday, BC High School. But like I say, players are coming to us. We had maybe 4 or 5 players that we were taking from the team that we worked with last year. We had them lined up, and like Keegan was saying, no, a lot of guys are coming from the background of Irish sports as well, the Gaelic football. So they're out of season, but they're also very passionate about soccer. So they're interested in getting on board. Um, and also we've a lot of our recruitment's to do with staff that we've brought in the background as well. So there's like we've a goalkeeper coach, we've another first team coach, and those guys will bring in their experience and their knowledge of the game with them to us, but also bringing players. So because they're moving over, maybe their friends that are playing high level are like, "Oh, you're going to this team. Might give it a go for a season, how and see how we get on." So that's basically how it's been working out at the minute.
Just on what Kevin's been talking about there, Thomas, what the boys need to realize is that like what me and Kevin's doing, we're not just coming in here just to have a kickabout. We want to make this as a professional as we can. Like we had a few boys that me and Kevin know ourselves that were like, "Oh, can I come play for the team?" And we're like, "Lad, I've never seen you play football. Come to the tryout." Like even though they're our friends, at the end of
Sure.
the day, business is business, and we want to get the best players as we can to come through this club. And um, we want to push the Premier Division by next season, by the fall of 2026. Like we're not coming here in the spring to develop for maybe 1 or 2 years. We're coming here into the spring now and trying to just destroy this league. I know it's massive me saying that right now and whatever, but at the same time, we're going for the big goal right now. And with the players we've coming in, there's no way that we shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, so can you talk a little about, so, you're in the UPSL. From what I understand, the UPSL plays in the spring and the fall. So can you just kind of explain a little bit about uh, what are the different levels? Where are you coming in at? Where do where do you want to aim to move up to? Uh, and just kind of like, what does the season look like? Does whatever happens in the spring carry over to the fall? Is it two totally separate things? Because I imagine a lot of people are probably interested. Maybe they've heard of the UPSL, but haven't actually gone out and experienced a UPSL game.
Yeah. But so the spring and fall, just to clear it up, is a completely different. They're like the completely different separation. So the spring is based up of I believe 10 games, 5 home, 5 away, and UPSL D1 anyways. And the UPSL Premier, I believe, it's around the same. Which me and Kevin has had a meeting with the whole UPSL board yesterday, and they're bringing in like an FA Cup type summer cup to the UPSL now in the summer, which would be amazing. Specifically for the kind of players that we're trying to bring in now, because I've been reached out and Kevin's been reached out by professional footballers that's over playing in Ireland right now that want to come to the States, enjoy the summer, but also keep their fitness up and play their high level soccer. And if we can get a summer cup going again, with the players we're bringing in, again, we should be going in and looking to win the whole thing as well.
Yeah. So, Kevin, can you talk a little bit? And so it's do you know what teams you're going to be playing against for sure? Is there anything like, obviously the season is still a couple months away, but when might you start playing? And like what other teams might you be playing against that are in Massachusetts or in the New England area?
So we got it's like a mock schedule sent out just within the last week there. So there's, I think, in our division, the Division 1, I think there's what, 7 teams. So we actually have a local rivalry as our first game. So we're playing Dorchester City FC in our first game, or inaugural kickoff. So that should be exciting. For the Dorchester area where we're based out of, the both teams are based out of, that'll be an exciting one for that. I know we're playing United Nations. We're playing New England Combine as well. And then we actually have to make the trip to Vermont as well to play the Vermont Clover. So we do,
Okay, yeah.
which is good. I'm looking forward to that because I know well, I think, if I'm right in saying, they're a newly established team. And just by looking at their content and stuff that they've been putting up on social media, they look like they're very similar in terms of what they're trying to do with us. They're very professional. They look like they're an exciting team. And from a coaching point of view, I'd love to get up there and just see what kind of setup they have and just basically how they carry themselves as a team. But the season, in terms of when it starts, as far as we know, the season will probably start the first weekend of April.
Okay. All right. So hopefully most of the snow is gone by then. I don't know.
We're playing with
Hopefully.
shovels.
Hopefully.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. And about Vermont Clover. I mean, I don't know if the two of you all been up to Burlington before, but it's a fantastic city. Might take a while. It take you a while to get there, but you should
like
have a
3 hours or so, I believe.
Yeah. But again, it'll definitely be worth the trip when you get yourself up there. And yeah, we've heard good things about Clovers as well. So and again, I think that's really, I would imagine it benefits you guys. The more teams there are that are taking this seriously, are having, like, they have a presence on social media, they're actually like really involved in trying to do this, like
100%.
that's going to benefit everybody else. Where I think sometimes, Vermont Green, some of the teams that they play against, it's just kind of,
Like a kickabout team or something. Like, it's not.
they're playing at their youth facility, and you can watch the game from some guy's deck at his bar, and like it's not really like
The higher,
a
the
serious
higher
thing.
the higher the other teams are becoming. Like, I'm not saying we're at the highest level in terms of what we're playing yet, but that's what that's our. There's no point in setting out to say you're going to win things, but not expect yourself to get to the highest level. Do you know what I mean? So with other teams progressing at a high level and getting better and stronger, then it's healthy competition. It means then we've no other choice as a team to push ourselves to that level. So with other teams getting better, it's only making us stronger and better as well. So and for the league and soccer in general in the US, it's a great thing.
Just going what Kevin was kind of just was saying there. Obviously, me and Kevin was coaching at the Premier Division last season, and that standard of football was very, very high. Even just dropping down one level to the UPSL D1. I'm not saying that the D1 standard's bad in any way means. We know, me and Kevin have been talking about, we know that the standard of football is still going to be very, very high. And we know that the new teams coming in are going to bring massive competition. And that's what me and Kevin love. But what I'm trying to say is that the players we're bringing in are playing at a higher level. And there's definitely a way that, we can go on and hopefully win the league this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. The better players you can bring in, the better players other teams can bring in. It raises, and the teams that look, if you want to come into the league, it's like you've got to come in with a higher level of commitment because look, I think there was one team last year they came in their first year and they went defeated, right? They lost every single game throughout the whole year. That that's a little tough to build off of. I mean, we've seen Vermont Green build a great following, but they've done that. Look, they do a lot right, but they've also had success on the field to go along with it. So if people want to come out and see a game, how does one do this? How does one go to a UPSL game? Do you have to buy tickets in advance? Do you just turn up? How does this whole thing work?
So for us, our first season, obviously, come down and see us. We're free. It's an open field. Come down and enjoy it. Hopefully next year, depending on the fan gathering, the fan base. Like if we know that we're going to get maybe 50 to 100 people, tickets is something. It's an option that we might look at. I think it's just purely based on your club. It's a personal preference in terms of a club. Whether you want to charge supporters to come down and you want players or supporters to buy tickets. For us anyway, at the minute, there's no ticketing system involved at all. So
we're trying to build a fan base first, Thomas. You know what I mean? And get as much people as we can to come down, enjoy the games. Like I was saying about going back to the Irish community culture, what me and Kevin's trying to do, obviously, is that we want all the fans and the supporters and the players obviously go to the game at BC High, which is about 10 minutes from McGonagall's pub, not even 5 minutes after the game, win or lose, come back to the pub, grow as a community, get that connection between supporters and players. And that's the kind of goal. If me and Kevin knows that players and supporters are building that kind of morale together, then we've done something right.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, my favorite part when I used to play indoor, I used to play over 30s. My favorite part was actually drinking after, so I could.
you'll have to come down and try McGonagall's. It was in top 50 bars in America, so you'll need to try out the Guinness there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, I am down for free soccer and beer. Free beer and soccer. Yeah,
sounds good.
If you're doing that,
all right, look, guys. So again, the season starts here in April. 5 games at home, 5 games away. Sounds like some of those games will be close, some of them will be far away. You guys have merch for sale as well. Do you guys have that up and running? And so if people want to, like you said, if people want to, get some of the gear early on, that's available as well. So what is the best way for people to keep up with you guys so they know? Again, as you're signing players, as things are coming together.
Instagram at the moment, Thomas, because obviously I feel like Instagram's our best platform right now, just with the whole world. Obviously Twitter, I'm not a big Twitter man, but Instagram, you just have to follow Boston Emeralds FC. That's the name. We're hoping to get a website and Twitter and Facebook, and there's all the platforms in the next year or so. We're just gathering a whole social media background team now for this first year, and that's the main way to get us is Instagram.
Excellent. Well, look, guys, we really appreciate you coming on the show. Great talking to you. Last question here before we wrap up. Are the Irish going to go ahead and qualify for the World Cup?
100%.
100%, lad. 100%. Hey.
All right. Well, hopefully that comes to fruition. We look forward to seeing you guys out on the field, in Dorchester in April. And I for sure will be down there for some free soccer and a couple of Guinnesses after the game
Good
as
stuff,
well.
Thomas. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you for
Hey,
having us
Thomas,
on.
thank you very much, buddy.